Hey gang, welcome in. I've got a problem here. Let me see. There we are. Haha. Still juggling cameras. This is a complex tapestry, everybody. I'm going to try paint a picture of what's coming in the future, but it involves so many different parts. It's quite unbelievable. This is by far the most complex Tesla story I've ever spoken of. We'll look at price predictions. We'll look at humanoid robots. We'll look at autonomy. We'll look at convergence between AI, robotics, energy storage, and advancements that are far-flung. Also, we'll look at all the different Musk industries and how they all cause synergy with each other, and some of the challenges we're facing in the world. And again, this all leads to crazy price targets. But the big story is how far ahead Tesla's AI leadership is, not to mention all the other component parts as well. So let's get into the story. This is called drone domination. And the reason I call it drone domination is a drone is typically something that's autonomous. So most people associate drones with things that are flying, but really any robotic system that has autonomy is a drone. That includes cars, that includes robots, that includes things that fly. And we'll talk about some crazy, crazy news. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the mods in the chat as well. I see T&D, Sean D, K8, everybody, welcome. This is going to be a fun story. And by the way, I forgot to mention, Elon tweets something about a bill in the government and the stock falls 10%. Nothing changed with the stock. This is called a buying opportunity, not financial advice. We saw 312 this morning. Woohoo, score. Anyway, congrats to all those who bought the dip. Let's get into the story, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, not financial advice, just a guy on the internet. And Kai Tang says, just join Patreon. Thanks for all your knowledge. My pleasure. So I'm breaking this down to sections. We're going to have price prediction sections, Tesla news time section, XAI section, SpaceX section, Neuralink section, valuation section, macro section. It's a 50-slide story, but if you are a Tesla investor, you need to know all of this stuff. And I'm trying to weave it all together, all the component parts. So buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, when you look at the media, all you hear is, oh my God, Tesla sales terrible all across the board. Well, let's look at some of the truth happening right now. And by the way, don't forget, everybody, they did have their line down for 4 or 5 weeks to convert to the new model line, including some more line down time too. But Tesla leads by a wide margin in vehicle sales in May in Norway, destroying every other car brand. Not just Norway though. Spain, Netherlands combined. And the media claims their sales is collapsing. The media hates Elon because the media is dying, and this is their last gasp to stick a knife into Elon again. And by the way, the FUD attack pieces will only ramp up from here until the 12th of this month, and then continue after that. Watch it. Do not look at media, everybody. They are absolutely horrific, and they're getting worse by the day. It's like I don't know, what would it call? Last gasp. Thank goodness. They'll be gone soon. Wonderful. So this is one piece of FUD. Then China, strong week over week from Tesla Chan. Massive 18.2%. Again, it's ramping up despite the global recession that many people believe is happening. And Australian sales are on fire too. From Sawyer Merritt, Tesla bounced back with its highest Australian sales in nearly 12 months, with about 4,000 cars sold, up 10% year over year. So yes, it's not dead. No. If you believe the media, you think it is. And I must say, though, in fairness, I'm very grateful to the media lies and the FUD, because that means we can buy Tesla cheaper, which is good. Wait till you see the price predictions. Good stuff there, too. Now, some funny stuff did happen. I'm going to go fast because we've got a lot of ground to cover. Last week, there was no production of Model Y or Cybertruck all week. Shout out to Joe Tegmeyer. And the reason for this, they had to complete one side of the building. They keep on expanding this place. But maybe there are theories that they were changing the lines to cater to a new Cybercab or a new Model 2. Lots of rumors abound. Something was going on, and there are no leaks. This company is watertight around the new Model 2. New Model 2 is coming. We just don't know what it looks like. Some people think it's a shorter Model Y. Some people think it's a longer Model Y. Some people think it's a strip down. Either way, it's going to be different. But that's the good news there. And Giga Nevada completes 1 million Powerwalls. This is in Tesla, Nevada. And that is powering American homes, boosting energy independence. And it means you can get that free energy from the sky and store it and run your house without paying extortionate utility bills. Again, everybody's doing it now. 1 million Powerwalls. Congratulations to that team. And shout out to Dan Ives from WedBush. I met Dan Ives in person at the Robotaxi event on 1010. And now he has his 30 stocks that are part of the AI revolution. I love his layout. But autonomous robotics, 2 players. One, Tesla. The other one, Oklo. And then you see some other names here. In full disclosure, I do own NVIDIA as well. He has them under semiconductors. And what else? That's pretty much all I have on his list. So not bad. It's a start. Anyway, I tend to be heavily concentrated in very few winning assets. That's kind of my style. Now, we are just 1 week, exactly 7 days away from the launch of this puppy, the Cybercab. Yes, I've ridden in them 3 times already. And I will not be going to Austin, Texas, but everybody else is going. So I expect to see millions of videos in about 7 days. It's going to be fun. Remember, they're only launching 10 or 20 in the beginning and hope to be up to 1,000 within a few weeks or months of that. Anyway. But everybody says, oh no, Uber already own the market and Waymo already do it and da-da-da-da-da. But once again, Dan Ives enters the picture. Hello, Dan. He talks about Waymo has no scale and the cost of their vehicles is nuts. And nothing comes to Tesla. They are completely unmatched in terms of engineering talent and ability to scale. And of course, the functionality. Like you can look at videos every day of Waymo's jumping straight into floods and getting stuck and not able to park themselves. And it's just not good. But again, we are grateful to Waymo for blazing the trail and getting the laws in place so people can get into cars without drivers, which is awesome. Shout out to Waymo. And humans are losing their trust. And I pointed this out on Cyberbulls a couple of weeks ago. And in San Francisco, all you see is Waymo's running around with little children in the back, alone. Okay, this is a crazy use case that people, they're too busy with work and whatever else. And if they need their kids picked up from school and taken to sports or after hours classes or whatever else, they do not trust anybody but Waymo. They're fine sticking their kids in a driverless car, but no others. And guess why? Well, shout out to Boomer Mama. This guy Solomon, the terrorist who did some terrible things over the weekend, was an Uber driver. Yeah. And they're supposed to do background checks and such. You don't know who you're going to be sitting in a car with, okay? I myself, I'd rather ride my bicycle than get into a car with somebody else. But that's just me. I'm kind of weird. I like to be alone, just with you guys here in the audience. But there's more. Potter, this is from Piper Sandler, a top analyst. He says, Tesla is the only car company that is trying to source batteries at scale without relying on China. Soon, they will be refining their own lithium. Yes. Building their own anodes. Yes. Coating its own electrodes. Yes. Assembling its own cells. Yes. Selling its own cars. Yes. No other company can do this like this. But tying up the whole value chain, all the vertical integration, all of the supply chain that they do use is all locally sourced as well, which means they're not impacted by tariffs. This was a decision they made 8 years ago with great foresight, because today there's crazy things happening. Anyway, let's get into price predictions, and then we get into all the other stuff that's dovetailing into supporting these price predictions. And be careful. We all know some of the crazy ones as well. We know that Kathy Wood has a $2,900 price target for 2029 just on robotaxis, but now she's beginning to talk more about the aging population and the need for humanoid robots, and the pennies dropping about how the only way the US can escape debt, and by the way, I'll have a macro section too, which ties into this as well. The only way the US can escape debt is by growing GDP, and the only way we can do that is by robots. The robots are coming. But let's talk about prices first. Before we get to the robots, by the way, a whole dedicated section on those too. I warned you, it's a big story, but I'll go fast. Tesla to $2 trillion in the short term. This is from Muskonomy, and it looks like Steve Mark Ryan and a Tesla analyst on CNBC, Nancy Tengler, said Tesla's going to $2 trillion in short order. Okay, safe to say things are bullish. And then Elon retweeted it. Okay, that means short term, $620 price. Let me check out the price right now as we speak. After we do a little dipperoonie. It's dipperooning again as well. Again, Musk probably tweeted something about the bill and the price falls. Anyway, all good. We like low prices here because we know where the ball is going. We know where the puck is going, and that's where we're going to play. But shout out to Mr. Isaacson, the biographer, in his book. One thing that Elon also referred to is he explained to Walter Isaacson why he thought Tesla was on a trajectory to be the most valuable company in the world by far and make $1 trillion in profits every year. How are they going to do that? Well, we'll talk about some of that in a minute too. But one of the immediate ways is, of course, the Optimus robot, okay? Also, Elon tweeted he believes autonomous vehicles and humanoid robots have the potential of making Tesla worth over $35 trillion combined. $1 trillion in profit, PE of 35, that's your number. That implies a 3,000% increase from current levels. Not bad. What exactly does that mean in stock price terms? Well, that's a $10,500 share price. I remember it's nearly 3 years ago. I made a video called 8 Ways to $8,000 for Tesla. People thought I was nuts. Now everybody has $11,000 price target in a couple of years. Mine was like 2032. Anyway, 10,500. That's what 35 trillion means. And let's check in on our handy dandy $10,000 stock price. Again, we hit it in my model. Shout out to CERN Basher as well. Sometime between 2032 and 2033, depending on the PE ratios. But just to point out as well, the whole business will be a function of two colors. Orange is robotaxis. Green is Optimus humanoid robot. The green will ramp up slowly, then rapidly. Once the robots learn how to make the robots, then it's game over, ladies and gentlemen. Then it's game over. And let's talk about more conversions, okay? This is the Tesla Optimus news. I love this image. Shout out to Kim Kardashian. This is the Optimus robot inside a Cybercab. I'm trying to paint a picture of how everything is coming together. There's lots of talk of how Tesla will do deliveries with Cybercabs, but they'll need somebody to hand over the package. That could be an Optimus robot. Again, we're right there. We're right there. It's coming so close. But first, Adam Jonas. Adam Jonas had a Tesla prediction that they'd get to, I don't know, 100,000 bots in 2030, some ridiculously low number. And now, all of a sudden, Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas predicts that physical work conducted by 1 billion humanoid robots, excluding training, may require over 4,000 terawatt hours of incremental annual electricity, roughly equal to one full U.S. electric grid. Remember, the U.S. electric grid loses about 40% of the power due to inefficiencies and bad transformers and all that type of stuff, which different people, former Tesla employees, are trying to fix that problem right now too. But yes, I'm glad to see Adam Jonas now sees a path to 1 billion bots. 1 billion bots. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to be fun. And it's not just Tesla too. Amazon already have more bots than they have employees. Their whole warehouses are run by automated bots. And it's crazy. In the Bay Area, I can order something at 6 o'clock on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. I'll get it at 4 a.m. Like literally now, within 10 hours, I will get my package. It is bonkers. It's almost becoming real time. And that will happen too. But Amazon, shout out to Shay as well, Amazon plans to deploy delivery robots inside of the Rivian vans. If you're anywhere, we have Rivian vans. They make this funny reverse beeping noise as they go, but they're great to see. And I spoke to a couple of Amazon drivers, and they love driving the Rivian because it's much more comfortable, much safer. They got a 360-degree view, so you don't have to worry about crashing into anything. And EVs, robots, real-time deliveries. It's all coming. It's all coming real fast. And Optimus have yet another influencer. And again, more of the genius marketing behind Tesla. They don't hire mainstream media. That's why mainstream media attack them 24/7. They don't pay for advertising on CNBS like General Motors and Ford do. No, Tesla do it the clever way. They use influencers to reach a wider audience. And this person I've never heard of before. I don't do TikTok, But her name is Anna Maligon. She has 5.5 million followers, and she's now doing multiple videos with Optimus. And what appears to be a key card for the bot, something secret. So she has insider information as to what this is. Maybe that could be something like a control switch, a kill switch, a key to unlock capabilities. I don't know. But either way, more tricks. And remember, what this thing can do is special. They did do a test of Optimus blindfolded in the woods on this in California, we've got a lot of this grainy mulch stuff. If you ever try to walk down a little grade, like this is probably a 20-30% grade, you will slip and you will fall. This thing slipped, but it didn't fall. It captured itself real fast. So that's the power of these bots. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, there's more. Okay, speaking of Adam Jonas, bots, drones, autonomy. I'm trying to paint a picture, again, of everything coming together. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. Morgan Stanley believed Tesla could shake up the $9 trillion drone piece. Now, I'm kind of inserting it here ahead of the SpaceX section for a reason, because, again, everything is bleeding together. But this is kind of the theory that Morgan Stanley have, which is quite fascinating. They believe Tesla could become a defense company in consumer clothing. And all of Tesla's skills are completely transferable. They have the manufacturing, they have the material science, they have the navigation and the autonomy, they have the electric motor development, they've got the battery storage, they've got the infrastructure, they've got the AI, they got the Colossus, they got the robotics. They have all the skills to handle what's called the low altitude economy. New word I learned today, low altitude drones. And these drones fly. Some drive on wheels, some walk on feet. All right. Remember, unthink what you think about drones. But this is both a commercial and potentially a non-commercial, very, very viable business per Adam Jonas. So Adam Jonas has gone from thinking bots were a dream to now creating new ideas for Tesla. But the other key thing here is, again, more connective tissue, as I talk about Starlink. Okay, you got the SATCOMs there, the low altitude economy, to drive everything. And anybody who's been following what's happening in Ukraine and Russia over the past 3 years understands the deterministic role of low latency, reliability, resilient, redundant satellite communications in this whole world of these flying things. And according to Adam Jonas, this could be worth trillions to Tesla. Trillions. Now, it's pretty clear that Elon is anti-war, but if these things are used for defense, maybe there could be an option. We shall see. Now, this takes us to SpaceX. Remember, and I do want to highlight again, everything is a drone. A car that drives itself is a drone. A robot that walks itself autonomously is a drone. Something that flies in the air is a drone. We'll see. Let's talk about SpaceX. Some of us have exposure to SpaceX, and it is an interesting little play right now. First of all, SpaceX is now coming to airlines from Blake. And he talks about how it is such a game changer for flying now. People, if you ever tried to fly with online internet in the air, going across the Pacific or something, it's a nightmare. It's just not going to work. But now, with Starlink on United Fleet, to be first, all the other airlines are following as well. You literally, it's like you were at home with the speed, downstream, upstream is super fast, 25x better latency than the past. And latency is the game changer. Remember, it is critical. Everything is about latency, not only in crypto, but also in internet speed. And SpaceX, Starlink, is launching Tesltra. This is a direct-to-cell technology, supported smartphones connected directly to low Earth orbit satellites. I think they're called LEOs, functioning as cell towers in space. And this allows SMS communication in very remote areas like the outback in Australia. Shout out to all our Australian people if they're up yet. And coastal zones with no terrestrial coverage. Okay, it's available on simple plans. I don't remember what the plans are, like $20 a month or something. And it'll help people stay connected. Again, another application of SpaceX. And people always say, oh, Elon only survives because of government contracts. Well, no, that's not true. No. And yeah, by the way, all other EV manufacturers get EV credits. It just happens to be the fact that Tesla make the most EVs, but that's a separate issue. Anyway, SpaceX is only 7% government defense contract revenue. The other 93% is from Starlink, etc., and other private ventures. So just to put a pin in that little bit of FUD too. And SpaceX is planning to build the world's largest building in Texas. Shout out to everybody in Texas. This will be not just big, it's a facility to house 1,000 starships. One starship is bigger than the Empire, not the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty, just to give you an idea how big these things are. And this building will house 1,000 of them as they make them and then shoot them all off to go to Mars to rebuild Mars, which is part of the plan. And if it couldn't get even more crazy, this is part of the convergence in the plan. Who's going to build Mars? They're not going to send the humans out in the first flights. But last week, they did hit a huge milestone of making a booster completely reusable without any flaws. That was in the Starship Flight Test 9. And all the plan is to send lots of these rapidly built, rapidly turned around boosters. I think they'll be able to turn them around in 1 or 2 hours to send lots of starships to space. And that's why they got the chopsticks, so they can catch the rocket and then stick a new booster beneath it. Stick a new starship on top of the booster that they reuse. And of course, Mars, just like New York in that iconic picture, will be built by Optimus human robots. So you can see everything is planned. Plans, as they say. Shout out to Mary Barra from General Motors. I wonder what she's planning these days. Anyhow, a little bit on XAI, and lots of good news there too, if it couldn't get even nuttier. First of all, the valuation for XAI has 5x'd in a year. It's now valued at 113 billion. And of course, XAI merged with X. X is the source of truth for the planet. Of course, there's some stuff on there that maybe is posted by some scammer or maybe not exactly honest. But if you follow the right people, it's better than a Bloomberg terminal. And you can save $32,000 a year. Imagine that. Again, another reason why Elon is hated. He's disrupting everything. Everything. And Walter Isaacson believes XAI will merge with Tesla, citing shared vision with Govt, etc., in the vehicles and so much more. All the Colossus compute centers that are being built. And I believe this will help get Elon to 25% control so that he's not forced by a wild board to do bad things with robots, etc. And he's very afraid of AI and it taking over and ASI and the machine, think Terminator movies, etc. That's a big concern. As he says, there's a 10% chance things could go very wrong with AI if we get to that stage in the future. But in the meantime, invest in it. And Neuralink, didn't know where to stick this one, but now they have a $9 billion pre-money valuation as well. So all those companies are worth billions and billions and billions. He'll be the first person in the history of the world, hopefully, to reach $1 trillion in net worth. And remember as well, Tesla have an unassailable AI lead. This guest, I can't remember his name, he was on the All In pod, and he spoke about how Jensen Huang said Elon Musk was superhuman, and how XAI and Tesla have built an unassailable lead in AI, compute, inference, robotaxis, etc. Unassailable data lead. Uncatchable. Okay? So when you hear the competition is coming, don't even think about it. Now, we've got to talk about macro, because everything impacts. Like I kicked it off with, Elon tweets something about the government and the stock falls 10%, and here we are. He's very concerned, like David Freeberg is on the All-In Pod, speaking of the All-In Pod, where he says, interest payments already consume 25% of all government revenue. If the massive deficit spending continues, there will only be money for interest payments and nothing else. No social, no medical, no defense, no nothing. Okay, the debt spiral is spiraling out of control, and it's way beyond the point of no return. The only chance of a way out is blow up GDP dramatically or inflate, debase the hell out of the fiat. The other two options. One is good. The other one is okay if you have hard assets. If you don't, you're stuffed. And that's a little bit of hard reality. The macro piece is going to be a bit dark, but some bright spots too. Shout out to Mark as well. He believes a first principles case for Tesla is to expand its Bitcoin holdings. They already have a big bag of Bitcoin, but Tesla is also holding about $35 billion of cash. which is a melting ice cube. Like Warren Buffett has $350 billion of cash, which is costing them billions every month in shareholder value. But hey, they also need that cash as a cushion to reinvest in this age of AI. That will cost a lot of money too. Again, shout out to Jensen Huang, who's on the receiving end of a lot of that money for his Blackwells. Anyway, more on a little bit of competition is coming. This is not good news for our friends in Germany. BYD, this shout out to AJ too. The growth of BYD vehicle sales in Germany has all of a sudden exploded in 2025. We're not too sure why, but this is probably one of the final nails in the German car industry. And if it couldn't get worse, well, Jerome Powell refuses to budge on interest rates. And why do we care about interest rates? Well, they drive indirectly the amount of cars that are sold. People can't afford to buy cars if interest rates are high. In the US, people borrow to buy. In Europe, people used to have the cash to buy. But anyway, the ADP numbers are out. The job market is weak as heck. And Jerome Powell refuses to budge. And yes, there is some conflict and tension between the US President Jerome Powell. Let's say that. But the job market is definitely ugly. And there's no doubt in my mind, I believe AI is eating jobs faster than anyone imagined, okay? People say, oh, well, companies are unsure of tariffs and they're not hiring, etc. Well, this is the slowest job growth in a long time, I do believe. Employers are doing more with less because they've begun to leverage AI. All of the big seven have slowed down hiring in traditional roles, or roles that typically new entrants would actually do, because mid-level employees can now use AI to do those types of roles. So it's a big challenge. And Elon agrees with Brian. Brian Armstrong runs Coinbase. Brian says, if the electorate doesn't hold Congress accountable for reducing the deficit and start paying down the debt, Bitcoin is going to take over as a reserve currency. And Elon Musk agrees. Okay? Again, more convergence between Bitcoin and AI and autonomy and everything else. But yeah, fiat's going to zero. We know that already. Will Bitcoin be the reserve currency? I don't know. Will Bitcoin exist in 10 years? I don't know. But we do know fiat's going to zero. So that's a sure thing in the bag. And sadly, why tariffs? Very important to understand. Why tariffs? Because China control the rare earths and they have Germany over a barrel. German cars from Mario may stop rolling because China holds all the magnets. Rare earths, everybody. Rare earths. Unless you fight back, literally nothing can happen in the West. China have the West in their fist. Either we become a slave to China or we fight back with tariffs and negotiate better terms for deals. All right? There's certain things they have that we need and vice versa. So watch this space. And the good news is markets are beginning to digest the whole tariff deal news. Recession this year has fallen from an 80% chance down to 28% chance. And yes, the macro is horrible. It's terrible out there. But at the same time, this is a good indicator. Now the market understands why we need tariffs. We knew from day one why we need tariffs. Market didn't understand. Market thought that had the worst crash since 1987. But no, everything's fine. Markets go up. Except for today, market's down a little bit. Bitcoin's down 104K. Tesla's down 314. Not a perfect day, but that's okay. And this is why we're here for this. Have a piece of this future, okay? Tesla's not a car company. It is by far the biggest leader in real-world AI. By far. And Elon's back in war mode. So enjoy the ride and enjoy the cheap prices. They won't last long. Not financial advice. Thank you all for coming. Hit the like if you learned something new. Exciting times ahead in the world. Be part of it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. And thank you to the mods in the chat, too.